you are producing it in Nigeria, it has nothing to do with dollars. So today, we are trying to see how we can reduce our purchase of crude oil, of refined petroleum products, like petrol, kerosene, and so on. Because if you should devalue Naira today, and we are still importing petrol, there's no way you will continue to pay 97. You will start paying 500 Naira per dollar per liter. Because the international price of refined oil is not reducing. Now, some people might argue that, but are we not already paying that amount now? I'll tell you, that's the third step. Although aside making sure we refine our own petroleum products, we're also trying to produce tomato. We're going to see if we can produce toothpick and pencils in Nigeria. Things that will make sure we don't need to import once we devalue. Or, for example, we should be able to pay our own, we should be able to produce our own clothes and promote made in Nigerian goods. That's another step. Power supply is another thing, so they would rather use part of the dollars to improve power sector and make sure we are able to do all of these things. Now, I was going to talk about the third stage, which has something to do with why petrol is very scarce now, or why it's very expensive. Those who are buying the petrol, the independent marketers are not able to get the dollars which I said contractors will be able to get. They should be able to get from it, but it's not enough. So far, NNPC has been the only one that CBN has approved to take out of that $300 to import refined products. So truly, we are only trying to share $300 among a few essential organizations. But it has been realized by the petroleum minister, or the minister of state rather, for petroleum, that before we used to share $1,000 and everybody was happy, right? But wait a minute. Those international or those multinational oil companies, they too had $1,000 that they did not bring out. They were sending it straight away to their foreign partners. Of course, Shell is owned by a foreign body abroad. So when Shell makes its own profit from the crude oil sale, before they keep the one meant for of Nigerian businesses, they send part of it to their foreign partners. So all these multinational oil companies have also been having a share of foreign exchange which they have been disposing in their own ways. So the minister is now saying, wait. There's a way we can get back our $1,000 for everybody to buy from. And how is that? If we can force all those multinational companies to bring their own dollar into the pool, let's mix it up. So Nigerian government has $300, multinational companies too bring 300. That makes it probably 1,000 again. So if it's 1,000 again, what we used to have as 1,000 before, we'll still have it. So it's like increasing the sources of foreign exchange. But the genuine ways to increase our sources of foreign exchange, which Mr. President has talked about often, is to increase what we export. Fine, if you say crude oil price has gone down, let's produce more crude oil now. Let's go and check if there's crude oil in Lake Chad or in the Chad Basin, so we can also export. Then secondly, let's see if we can also export minerals, solid minerals. Let's see if we can produce gold or coal or uranium and see if we can export it and produce it. Also, let's see if we can produce, rice, so that we don't have to import rice again. That will help. Let's see if we can produce what are they trying to produce again? Textiles? And some other products like that. Fine. If we can produce these things, then we will reduce our pressure on the dollar and we'll be self-sustainable or self-reliant. So these are the options. from the presidency. Now, what is the problem of the private economists who are contributing to this discourse? One, they are saying that if your only source of revenue is oil and gas, fine, you are trying to help by reducing pressure on this dollar market by making sure those who are abroad cannot buy from your dollar, making sure those who are in Nigeria cannot take from your own $300, you want them to go and look for it at a very expensive price or something, fine. Why can't you just devalue this thing? Let everybody know that we are poor officially. As in, if they are still importing, they will stop importing when the thing they are trying to import is very expensive now. You are saying that, oh, we'll make sure everybody is still rich, but you're not allowed to import. You cannot collect our own foreign exchange. You're not allowed. Go and look for your money elsewhere. All these things will be difficult because of corruption. Those who are in CBN, through the back door, they will still give those who you have said should not be allowed to import. They will still give them extra, take dollar, just make my profit and also give me corruption. So, what people like Patotomi and others are saying is that, you know what? Develop this thing. If what we used to get for $300 is devalued, it will appear big in our eyes, Abi. Fine. Those who used to import and think they still want to import, when they go and buy clothes, and the clothes comes to Nigeria as 50,000 Naira per shirt, they will stop importing now. So this is the knowledge they are trying to force in. But the president is saying that the Nigerians, I know, they won't accept. It looks easy. When you devalue, petrol that you're talking about would have to go up. Workers will start asking for more money because they cannot buy petrol. They cannot come to work. Prices of goods, you're talking of clothes alone. Is it only clothes? Even rice, tomato would go up. And when all these things go up, Nigerians will not say, we've devalued already now, so we are still poor. No. What Nigerians will demand is increase our salary. And when you finally increase their salary, the problem you are trying to run away from, which is what? The problem of not being able to pay salaries because you could not have enough money in Naira to share, so you now change the foreign exchange so that it will appear like you have money to share. You will now come back to square one. You won't have the money to share again. So what it means is this. The solution I referred to earlier about how the presidency wants to solve it. If those solutions can work, then if we are patient enough, we might be able to deal with it and it will phase out. Oil prices will stabilize again and we'll be alright. We'll diversify our economy again and we'll be alright. Make sure we are robust against the oil and we'll be alright. But if you go and devalue today, and the problem becomes, like I just said, aggravated. If the problem becomes aggravated, you won't even be able to think of diversifying because it could get worse than you imagined. And for how long will you continue devaluing? So that's the question. I'll round this up by saying and suggesting that aside making sure people do not, access our foreign exchange because we're trying to reduce the number of people that can access the only limited $300. Why can't the government also, I'm sorry to say this, why can't they reduce the minimum wage? When you reduce the minimum wage, demand will reduce. We have said that there is a low supply. Fine. If supply is low and demand is high, reduce purchasing power. When you reduce purchasing power, demand will reduce, and economy, according to the diagram of demand and supply, if you understand the diagram very well, we have the law of diminishing returns. So, when supply is reduced, you reduce the purchasing power. That helps. But I know today, that if the government says we are reducing minimum wage, workers will go on strike, collapsing the economy. That's the problem. So the onus now lies, because right now states cannot pay salaries. Even those that are paying salaries, by all means, are doing it at the expense of developmental projects. When you use all your allocation to pay salaries, please, how do you want to build roads or bridges? Now, let me end with this suggestion. I've said something already about reducing the minimum wage, but like I've said, workers will down tool and that will be a problem. So the onus now lies on only one person to do it, National Assembly. The law guiding minimum wage is not good enough. It's not good enough. You cannot fix things like minimum wage when the income fluctuates. You cannot. The minimum wage should be based on a percentage of our income. For example, when our minimum wage was when our income was about whatever trillion, I don't know, in dollars, our minimum wage should be a percentage of that. So that when our foreign exchange reduces, when our income reduces, minimum wage should also reduce. And when our foreign exchange increases, minimum wage should increase. So everybody will always get salaries based on whatever the income is and whatever your salary becomes. You will now find out that civil servants will be doing everything possible to make sure that our foreign exchange does not reduce. Those who are supporting people to smuggle away oil, to do what they call it, oil bunkering, oil vandalism, they will stop, because they know that if our foreign exchange reduces, their salaries will reduce. And who will hold them accountable? It's not the government, it's their colleagues. Why did you allow that person to steal the money now? Now our salary has reduced now, they will hold him to ransom or to account. And that is the way legislators should be thinking now. And also, when we start supplying solid minerals, crude oil, we start refining our own, and everything increases, workers will be able to get more money home. That will make people more patriotic, because they will see it as, wow, so if my country makes more money, I'm indirectly making more money as well. That's the way it should be done. I don't have much to say, I'm just here to make my contribution, and I'm sorry for taking over 27 minutes of your time, but I hope that we've been able to bring up this issue in a way that everybody understands it and can make valuable contributions in any other environment you find yourself. Like I said, my name is Olushola Said Ayola, PhD student at the University of Manchester, and I'm here to make common sense.